Hey, what's up, everybody? Back to the Club Junkie podcast, and today's the day. It's the day. It is the start of Men's League. Tonight, we go down for the first time, 2022. But before we get into that, let's get into, this episode brought to you by Voki Design SM9 Wedges. And Voki Design SM9 Wedges are a product of superior handcrafted technology. Each one an instrument of creative control, created from the most advanced materials, engineered to deliver ideal flight and spin, with grinds designed to release your best wedge play possible. There are many ways to make a wedge, but only one way to make a Voki. Title is Voki Design SM9 Wedges. Superior handcrafted technology. Find yours, Voki.com. So, yep, you got the SM9s, but it is like I said, the first of 20 weeks of Men's League Thursday nights. It's time to go. Been super excited. It's funny, this year, for whatever reason, I think I've said this before, super excited to play some golf. Just want to play, want to get out there, and it's just, I think, playing a little bit more this winter at some of the OEM, like, some of the company member or the media trips and stuff like that, to go out and see a lot of new product, play a little bit of golf, hit some stuff on the range. Just been super excited to play. So I've been kind of itching, then watching the Masters, things like that, and it's just, I want to get out and play, so I've been hitting the range a little more. I definitely have a lot of things to work on still with the swing, but I'm excited to go play. Excited to go play in Michigan to see how a lot of the stuff performs up here compared to what I was seeing down at down in like the Arizonas and Californias and places like that. So be really interesting to see. But I'm super excited. For those of you who don't know, who maybe haven't listened to the show before, my men's league is played. And I live in Metro Detroit. I live in the suburbs of Metro Detroit, or the suburbs of Detroit, and I play my league matches, or league. My league is at a little course called St. Clair Shores Golf Club, or golf course, something like that. It's not very long. It's not an insanely difficult track, easy to walk, and it's stuffed in between a freeway and a bunch of houses, a bunch of residential. So nothing crazy, but it is a thing where they keep it usually in fantastic shape. It gets an absolute ton of play. People have said like it's one of the most heavily played courses, in the area, and they keep it in great shape for the most part. Greens always roll pretty darn well. They haven't been the fastest in the past couple of years, just I think because with the limited staff, with all the COVID stuff and all that, they've been a little slower, but they always roll really well. But there were a few years. I've been in the league now. This is like my 8th year, I think, something like that. My father-in-law has been around in that league a little longer. It started, gosh, I don't even know. The stories are like it started, 30, 40 years ago or something like that. But I started like about 8 years ago. My father-in-law said, hey, we have an opening. And at the time, I wasn't working for Golf WRX. I was working a previous job. And I'd switch my times I was working so I could get out earlier. And so my schedule changed, and it worked out perfect. Because I wanted to join a league before that. I just didn't. It was always like a work issue where I couldn't always get out on the day, whatever day it was. It was Thursday, Tuesday, whatever it was. I could never get out, early enough to go play. So it worked out then. And then since then, I've been playing in this league, and it's been a lot of fun. We have, again, this is probably redundant for a lot of people who've listened to the show for a while, but if you haven't, we have a lot of different people in terms of, what our league. It's not crazy serious, and it's also not a fall down stupid drunk, just get as hammered as you possibly can league. It's kind of in the middle. If you want to play for a couple bucks and make it interesting, there's some guys who will do that. And if you don't want to play that way, if you want to, just play and have a good time and, enjoy the evening, hey, we got guys who'll just hang out and do that too. So maybe have a few beverages. That we definitely got guys who do that too, and everywhere in between. So, and then handicap-wise, we kind of run the gamut also. So our handicaps for the league aren't really true handicaps. They don't take consideration, the slope, the rating, the handicaps of the holes, anything like that. It's basically just an average over par. And par I think it's 36 on both sides still. I'd have to double check that. I think it's 36. If not, it's 35 and 36. I'm pretty sure that at least one of them's 36. But and it's basically your average over par. So I'm one of the I think I'm the second lowest handicap for the 9 in the league, which I'm at like a 4. And I usually come in at 39 to 40 on my average weeks. I'm right around that, and then we've got people who on there who are, I think the highest. I think it caps off at 20. I think 20 is the most you can be for 9. So, and we have a couple people at that as well. And it's funny because, playing this thing for 8 years, I remember one time I was down to like a 2 or 3. It was like the lowest I'd ever been. And I was playing the guy who was the highest handicap in the league at the time. And it was like 20 or 21 strokes. He was 2021. I was like a 2 or 3. And the guy I'm playing he's the nicest guy in the world. He just, he loves to play, get out there and hang out with everybody, play some golf. But he just, he isn't that great. He doesn't score great, but he doesn't care. He goes out there and just has fun. And I played with him, and he shot the best round that he's ever shot in the league. Like that, it was a personal record that day. I think he shot 47 or something like that. And I think I calculated I would have had to shoot 3 under just to tie him, and that definitely didn't happen. I lost. So if you are a lower handicap, it is definitely difficult to win matches sometimes because you have to give so many strokes. Like that one there, I think I had to give like 17 strokes or something like that. It was something. It was 2 a hole for sure. So it was difficult to win. I have won the league once. It was 5 years ago now, something like that. I almost won it my first year in, because the first year in you come in with no handicap. Because I guess you could tell our commissioner what your kind of average scores are, but it really starts out as 0. So, like most people here in the north, you don't play a whole lot in the winter. You come out, you don't play great, so you got some high scores in the beginning, and then you play better as the year goes on, and you just win like crazy. And typically the new people in the league do very well, but and that isn't necessarily the case. And this year, one of my brothers is joining up. He's going to play. And I think he'll be one of those guys who will do very well, because in the beginning, he hasn't played any golf since last year. I don't even know if he's been to the range. And he will come out and he'll play pretty poorly, I'm going to assume. And then he's going to, play better and better as the year goes on. And it'll be one of those where he'll be at the top of the leaderboard. I'm usually always kind of right in the middle. I trend north. I'm usually at the top in the beginning of the year, just because I come out and play a little more consistent. So I'm usually at the top of the leader, top of the points total in the beginning of the year, and then I will trail off and fall off as that goes, as I play different people and lose matches. So but it's a lot of fun. Like I said, we do skins, we do closer to the hole, stuff like that. Typical stuff in the league, but it is a good time. And like I said, we play at St. Clair Shores, which again, if you've ever played it, you're not going to be blown away by it. It's not super impressive. But for what it is, it's a good little track. I don't hit driver a ton. On the front 9, I hit driver realistically once. I could hit it maybe a couple more times, but the few holes that I would maybe tee up driver on, there's more problems left than there are right. Which is typical. The course is kind of built for people who fade the ball a little bit, because majority of golfers do. So the holes that I could hit driver on and maybe get one down close, if I hit it left, there's a lot more problems in terms of roads and residential homes and things like that. Because it is kind of cut out of in the middle of the course, there's a condominium complex. And, there's been some people who have knocked some balls off condos. So it's one of those things where you have to be a little bit, it's not long. Like I said, you don't have to hit driver. I typically score decently there because I don't have to hit driver. I can hit hybrids and 3-woods and even 4-irons off the tee and still have fairly short irons in. So for me, it works out well that way. And honestly, sometimes hitting those clubs takes out some trouble. There's water on, let's see, it's on 3, 4, 5, and then you get to the back 9. So, there's water probably on about 7 holes, six holes. There's water that you can get into. So, like I said, taking driver out of my hand to just avoid that stuff actually works out pretty well, because if I play a 4-iron or a hybrid or something like that back, I don't have to worry about hitting it in the water because I can't hit it that far, and then I still, like I said, can have 8-iron, something like that in to a green with no problem. But it's like I said, it's a fun little course, fun little league, and I'm just excited for it to start. I really am. I know a lot of leagues aren't starting up until May, so we're about a week, maybe about a week or to 2 weeks ahead of most people up here. We're starting the leagues, so that's kind of nice. But we do play 20 weeks. I know not everybody plays that as well. And then myself and a couple other people will keep playing as long as we possibly can. When it ends in September, we just keep on rocking and rolling and going. And it starts out as like 8 or 12 guys who will still show up and play. And then it just dwindles down, and then it pretty much is just me playing after a short period of time. After a couple weeks, it's just me playing by myself or stuff like that. But I don't mind. I just like getting out and playing. But super excited, so I kind of... It's funny. I mean, I'm just a club junkie and at heart, and it's been kind of I wouldn't call it agonizing, but it's been kind of difficult that I'm putting together what's in the bag, what is going in the bag for the first week, because I can only play 14 clubs, and my game has to be a little on. I mean, I do bet a guy or two, just a couple of dollars for the round, so we play with handicaps. So I don't want to go out there and just blast a thousand out there. So I want to play at least decent, have a chance to keep a couple bucks in my pocket. So it takes a little bit of getting what my first what's in the bag's going to be, because I don't know how the game's going to be when I show up. So I want to bring some stuff that I'm either somewhat familiar with, maybe a little bit battle tested, and at this point, there's not a whole lot that's battle tested on the course at the moment. So a lot of stuff, and that's the thing, my what's in the bag that I'm going with. And there's a couple. I'm going to go through what's in the bag and why I'm going to play the things I'm going to play, and then there's like two. I think there's like two spots that are kind of like on the fence right now that I'm really debating what to do. Those there, I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's just like, the shots I'm looking at. Like, we're playing the front nine. So the front nine, really, I probably wouldn't even bring driver. There's basically the 8th hole is a par 5. That's the only hole I usually hit driver on. And as I think if you listen to TG2 at Tursky, it is like one of my nemesis holes. I've stood on that tee box numerous times at like even par, 1 under, 1 over, whatever, and easily made double or triple on that hole. It's not crazy long. You can get there in 2 if you hit a good drive, but the whole left side is OB. And I have more times than I care to admit snap hooked the ball OB and then reteed it and had to play. And it was just it's one of those where it stinks, because it's derailed me numerous times from having a good number posted. And I mean, I think I want to say what my low round there is like 30. I think it's 2 under. I think it's a 33 2 under was like my lowest ever. I want to say that was when I was doing Mondays Off, which is an older podcast. I don't know if you guys have or ever followed that one, but I did a podcast with Tursky's boy Stevie Westfall, and I think I shot 33, and he gave me a bunch of crap, called me a sandbagger, all that, which I understand. But it's been usually I'll have like 1 to 2 really low rounds a year, and then everything else kind of stays average, and then I usually have a couple blow-ups where things just, everything goes wrong. And I think I had one last year where one of the guys I played with was like, "I've never seen you play that badly in this league." And I was like, well, it definitely does happen, so don't think I'm immune to it. But no, like I said, it's a short little course, like I said, but it's always in good shape, and it's got, like I said, a few challenges. There's a few holes that make you kind of go, okay, like make you think about when you look at like 14, is it 14? Yeah, 14 is a par 3. It's only like 155. It's like 150 to 160, but pretty much everything in front of you, everything to the left is water, and there's a huge bunker that takes up like the right 3/4 of the green. So you have to hit it high to get it to land on the green. A lot of guys in my league, especially the older guys, they hate that hole because they don't hit it over the bunker. They don't hit it high enough to get it over the bunker very easily, and I don't worry about it as much, but that hole will definitely kind of make you think. And then there's a couple others that have a little bit of water. I mean, the 16th hole is like the hardest hole in the course, but really, I mean, it's just a long par 4. You hit a good drive, I mean, you can still get, it's still a relatively short to mid-iron in to the green, but we'll be playing the front 9, which front 9, again, is just the way it's set up. I don't have to hit drivers, so hole 1, hole 1 is this little dogleg right. It's pretty short. It's only like 340 yards. I should pull up the scorecard, but it's not really long. The fairway runs out at probably like, it's probably a little long that, because the fairway probably runs out at like 320, and then you've probably got about 30 to 40 yards of rough before you actually get to the kind of the elevated green. And there's a little depression kind of in the front right. It's like a grass bunker that everybody, there's always, in any group, in any foursome, there's always somebody in that little depression, at least one guy. But it's a hole that, again, when I stand up to it, it's a fade hole. Like, it's a flat out fade hole. Most people, if you aim it down the left side, let it fade back, it's perfect. It's right in the fairway. For me, if I hit it too far left, it's going into the road. That is the main road that's next to the course. It's in the road, so I don't hit driver there. Because even if I, basically smother it left on the first hole, hitting a hybrid or something like that, I typically have it in play. I may have to, punch it out of the trees or whatever, or, kind of hit it above a tree or whatever, but I can at least play it. I'm not out there searching and then, dropping one next to the fence because, again, we're one of those things, too. We're not going to go, if you hit it OB or you think it's OB, I'll hit a provisional, but a lot of guys will just go up and drop it where we thought it went out. Takes too much time to go back to the tee and re-tee and all that, so we're not playing that jazz. But anyway, like hole 1, hole 2, same thing. It's really short. They're on the right hand side. It's all trees and then condos. The trees kind of protect the condos, and then there's a big bunker again in the front. And I do have to say the one thing that kind of stinks about St. Clair Shores Golf Course is the bunkers are absolute garbage. The sand in them is so compacted and so firm. It's not. They're pretty horrible. And there's a couple bunkers that if you're in, you're almost better putting it out. I've had a couple of those where I think it's the 12th hole. There's a par 3, and if it's par 3, bunker on the right's not too bad because everybody goes in there, but it's got a really tall lip. You got to hit it high. The bunker on the left is okay. I mean, it's not good, but the back bunker, if you hit it in there, is cement, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I brought like a low bounce 60. I don't remember which one it was, but I brought like a really low bounce 60 because the week before I hit it in that bunker, or 2 weeks before, because we alternate back and front. So 2 weeks before I hit it in that bunker accidentally, and I tried to just slam it out of there. I tried to get as steep as possible, get down on the ball. Club still hit the sand, popped up, bladed the ball off the green, all that. And so I think 2 weeks later I brought an extra wedge, and I was like, I just want to see if there's any way, even with a low bounce wedge, could I get under this thing? So I had I think it was this Epon Tour 60 degree that has no bounce, and it also has decent trailing edge relief. And I opened that thing up, whatever, and I still could not get. I got better, but I still could not get under the ball to get it up and out. And it's with that, you're almost better either kind of a chipping motion or putting it kind of out of that bunker. So there's a few of those that are just absolute crap. If it's the one thing that I could improve on that course, I would have different bunkers. But so anyway, like I said, it's nothing crazy long. It'll be fun. Get to see all the old, all the guys again that I haven't seen in a while. We got a couple new faces showing up. Like I said, my brother will be a new face. I think we got 2 other guys who are brand new. One of which I believe I'm playing with today. So this is, or I would say today. I'm recording this Wednesday night. But I'm playing with one of the guys who's new, so that'll be interesting to see. And then, so I just kind of want to go through what's in the bag, why it's in the bag, why I'm choosing what I'm choosing, and you guys have a little idea of what's going down for men's league this 2022 season. So, excuse me, there's going to be a lot of rotation through the bag throughout this year. So if you've never followed along before, there's going to be a lot of changes that go in the bag, and pretty much every week I'll break down what went in the bag new, how it performed, whatever. But this one is like I said, the inaugural 2022 what's in the bag for men's league, and we'll start at the top of the bag because I think that's that was the easiest choice here because like I said, at most I'm gonna hit driver twice. It'll be on 8. And then also, if the round goes to absolute garbage, I'll try to hit it on 9. 9 again, short dogleg right. If you can tee it up and cut the corner over the trees, you can put it into the greenside bunker. You could try to get it on the green, but there's 2 bunkers that kind of guard the right and left side. And most of the time, that right-hand bunker is a little more, covers a little more of the green out in front. So that one there, I've done it numerous times where I've been upset with myself after a bad 8th hole that I pulled driver and tried to cut that corner. Excuse me. I've pulled it off once or twice. I don't think I've ever had the ball on the green. I've had it on the fringe, in the front, or like, in the fringe on the grass. But I've had it in the bunker a couple times, but I've never got it actually on the green. And it's just, again, not a shot shape that fits my eye because I hit it a little left. I draw the ball, and you have to start it so far over the trees to let it come back, and it's not a shot that I ever really hit. So usually, again, depending on the wind, hit hybrid or 4-iron down there. But the top of the bag driver was kind of the easiest call because it just basically went with kind of what I'm most comfortable with and what I think is going to be a pretty good combo for me this year. And that is going to be, and again, I don't know what's going to be my starter. I did really well with last year's Sim 2 Max. So this year, the My Stealth 10.5 is going to be the driver for the first round of the year, and of course I've got the cool multicolored stealth head cover that they did for the My Stealth stuff, which I thought turned out just absolutely awesome, with all the little multicolored TaylorMade logos. Toss it on the floor, but yeah, I'm going with the stealth right out of the bag, the 10.5, the My Stealth one, the one that I did in chalk. It had the chalk framing, and then the gloss black crown, and then the gray face, a little bit of green on the bottom, and then with this I'm going to go Ventus TR Blue 6X. So that'll be the combo that goes driver right out of the gate. And the Ventus Blue, the TR, I really like just because I played black last year, Ventus Black a lot, a 6X. It was kind of too much shaft for me a little bit. I mean, probably launched too low, but the Sim 2 Max just launched and spun a lot. So I needed something to kind of keep the ball down a little bit, and that combo worked really well. But the Ventus Blue is something I've been fit into a lot. But the TR, I just like the slighter, the stiffer handle section, and I feel like it's a little tighter. I get a little more control out of it, while I still get that mid launch and pretty low spin. So I think this will be the combo that goes in driver right out of the gate. And I think, like I said, it's just going to be comfortable because, like I said, I had a lot of success with Sim 2. I played Sim before that. And for whatever reason, I swing TaylorMade drivers pretty well. So it's not anything where, this one here, not necessarily battle tested. It's been on the range. The only driver I really have that's battle tested in terms of I played 18 holes with is the PXG, the new 0311XF. That's the only one that I've actually had on the course, and like I said, has been battle tested. So this will be out here, but again, I'm only going to hit it probably maybe twice, depending on wind. I may hit it twice, and that's probably going to be it. But I think in terms of taking this thing out, I think I'll get pretty comfortable with it pretty quick. 10.5 head, leaving it at 10.5 in terms of the setting. I've got the all fit tips in here, running those, running it in standard 10.5, and the weight on the bottom is still neutral. So that is pretty much the setup there. And I'm sorry, it's a stealth. It is a stealth, My Stealth Plus head. So that does have the sliding weight in the bottom. I've just left that at neutral so far. I was thinking about moving it out to the toe a little bit, and I just haven't done it. So I've been hitting it decent on the range with the way it is. So I'm going to rock that, with the... and this thing here is going to be, like I said, Ventus Blue TR. So the new one, like I said, has same velo core in the tip, had this spread toe fabric in the handle, so it's a little more stout in the handle. And like I said, I think it's, for me, a little tighter, offers a little more control. And this thing is playing, basically, I think it's just a hair over 45 with the all-fit stuff. So the all-fit stuff, and there's no tipping on this one, it's just straight in. The all-fit does play... It's not as consistent. I do have to say the one thing I'll knock it on, which I think I mentioned in the podcast when I reviewed it, was it's not as consistent in terms of length. So like a TaylorMade, if you build like this setup, like this shaft with this TaylorMade head to like 45, and you go and put it in, say, a Cobra head or whatever, Titleist head, it may not be exactly the same length. It does fluctuate a little more than, say, Club Connects did. Club Connects was a little more on the length stayed the same with that system. This one's got a little more length. So I built this one, I think it's 45. It may be just a hair over. But like I said, I'll rock this. But this is going to be a driver in there for the first go at Men's League. See if I can get this to stay on my desk. I know that my podcasts are riddled with clubs falling and dinging on the ground and everything like that. So... but yeah, that's driver. When we go to 3-wood, which is a club that I do use, like I said, I'll maybe hit it on hole 1, depending on wind. If it's into the wind, I'm hitting 3-wood. If it's downwind, I'm going to hit hybrid on that hole. Just it's kind of what I've done for a long time. If wind's crazy into us, which I'm hoping it's not, I've hit driver on that hole if the wind's really into us. But for the most part, I hit 3-wood. And then like hole 2, I hit 3-wood, and a couple others. So there's a handful of holes I hit 3-wood, and even if stuff's downwind, I'm hitting a lot more hybrids. But 3-wood, I'm going with something that's kind of a brand new combo. I haven't even hit it yet, but I was kind of going through a lot of my shafts, and then, like I said, as you may know, listening before, anything that I used with Club Connects, I can't use with all fit because everything's tipped 3/4 of an inch and cut down to a shorter length. So anything from Club Connects that I have shaft wise, and I go to put it in an all fit adapter, it's automatically tipped 3/4 of an inch, and it's like half an inch short. So everything would play like maybe 44 and a half or 44 inches, whatever. Like they're super short. Like they just don't work. So I was going through and kind of looking at like some of the shafts, and a lot of them are just behind me in this. If you're watching on YouTube, in this rack behind me, and a lot of those are just kind of now the display shafts behind me for just basically some color behind me or whatever. There's a few all fits on there, but most of them are Club Connects. And I was looking at just a couple shafts on there that I'm kind of bummed that I can't use again because they're short. And one of those was the Graphite Design GP7 that I had, the GP7X. And the GP7X was one that I played in 2017 M1, and it was a great combo. And then I messed around with it in Sim. It worked pretty well. Sim 2 Max, it just didn't launch, like I said, low enough and spin spin low enough in that head to really work. And then it's just been kind of sitting, and I was like, you know what? It's a shaft I really like. I've swung it pretty well. So why not toss it in the old Titleist TSI 3 head? So TSI 3 wood. And I've basically built this thing. I cut it down. It's 42 3/4 inch long. It was already tipped, so I just left it at 3/4 inch tipping there, and then, which actually I think it's tipped a little bit more than that. I think when I got this shaft, it was kind of laying around the office, and I think one of the gentlemen who worked there before had it, so I think it was already tipped an inch. So it's probably tipped an inch. I went online and kind of did that first ring measurement online to measure from tip to first ring, and I believe it's done about an inch. So it was already tipped an inch. I just left it at that and put it in here. So put in a Titleist tip. I'm setting it at B1, which is the flat setting in the TSI 3 head, and then again neutral weight on the bottom. And again, this one I kind of messed with, moving out to the toe, moving out to the heel. I messed with it a little bit. I didn't really. I hit it the best in the neutral position. And I think a little bit of that is the kind of the gear effect is where that weight is. It kind of changes how the club feels a little bit as you swing it. But I think this thing here, this is the one club well, I guess it's not the one club, but it's the one club that, no, it's not. I've got another one that's not, that I haven't hit. But anyway, I think this is going to be really good. I've hit the TSI 3. I've hit it in a couple different shafts, and I just haven't found the right shaft. I really like the sound of the head. I love the look of it. The feel of it's really good. I just found that I would kind of hit these kind of high floating, seems like high spinning shots with it. And I had like Ventus Red, and I had a lot of like higher lofted shafts in there, a lot of softer shafts in there, because it wasn't the highest launching head. And I was like, you know what? Let's put something in there that's a little more stout, a little more mid-launch, and a little more lower spinning. So I was like, you know what? I had a ton of success with the GP7 and driver. Let's toss it in a 3-wood and see how it goes. And like I said, most of my shafts are 60 grams. So this is one of the few that is a 70 gram that I could toss in a 3-wood. So like I said, built this thing up, and so far, I haven't swung it yet, but I like the look and feel of it, and it's one of those that I've kind of got a little confidence in just going into it. So we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I've hit this head before, and I've hit this shaft before. It's just I haven't hit them together. So it'll be interesting to see how this performs. I'm really hoping I get a little more of a mid-launch, a little more penetrating trajectory with this. And like I said, this is my favorite Graphite Design shaft, I think, at the moment. The UB is pretty close, but I think this is this kind of the boy. It's got the stiffest handle in the whole Graphite Design line, and I've hit it the best out of kind of anything. Like I said, the UB is getting close on that, but the GP has been kind of the guy there. So that is the combo for 3-wood, and then I put actually a legit grip on there. I put a cheap piece of junk grip that most of my clubs have. I actually put a Golf Pride MCC teams on there to give it a legit fair shot. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm pretty confident. I think it's going to be a pretty good stick there, and something that, again, this week, don't know if I'll hit an absolute ton, but I will hit it a little bit. I'm trying to get these into. That's not going to work. My my usual what do you call it? YouTube, put stuff out on my desk in front of me to kind of show examples. Not going to work as well as I thought. But anyway, because usually I just do heads. Like I just pop the heads and all that. But I was like, well, I want to show what shaft I'm playing. So full clubs here if you're watching on YouTube, and it's a disaster. They don't fit on the what do you call it, the desk very well. So, oh well, what are you going to do? But anyway, so that's 3-wood. And like I said, I'm pretty confident now. Like I said, set to the B1, setting a little flat, hopefully to take a little bit of that left out. The only thing I don't like about TSI 3 is when you start adding loft, which I wouldn't mind going up a little bit of loft, just to kind of help me get the ball up in the air off the turf. If like on that, say hole 8 on the par 5, I hit a good drive, or, hit a drive where I could get 3-wood there. I would like to hit it a little higher, but, for that, anytime you raise the loft on that thing, it seems like it just shuts the face a little bit, so B1 gets it flat, keeps the same 15-degree loft. I should be pretty good. And like I said, most of the time, 90% of the time I hit this thing, I'm going to be hitting it off the tee. So not a big deal. Should be good hitting that high enough. But that's going to be 3-wood. And now we get into hybrid. And here's where I've got a little bit of a dilemma of what I'm going to do. So my initial thought was going dropping clubs back there. It was going PXG 03XF Gen 5 7-wood, which, as you know, and as I've said, I've hit this actually pretty well. I got fit for it a little bit at down at Scottsdale National, and I hit it pretty well on the course when I played it. It goes straight in the air. It goes straight in the air in about 200 and, phone's buzzing. It goes straight in the air. It goes about 210, 215 yards, and has like zero roll, just drop and stop and all that. But here's the thing, and I love that, because I think hitting it into par 5s or into long par 3s, things like that, having that ability to hit the ball super high and getting it to stop on the green and having that distance control, I really like. I'm super excited about that. But the thing is here at St. Clair Shores, I don't need that really. The only time I would hit this club that wouldn't be off the tee is on that par 5. If I nuked a drive and had 215 to whatever, or 220 downwind, whatever the case might be, I would hit this into the green and it would be able to get it on there and it'd be able to stop it. But like I said, that's the only shot that I can think of actually using it on that wouldn't be off the tee, hitting it, a 200 and some yard shot. The par 3s on this side are all short. They're usually, depending on where they set the tees, they're between 150 and 172, both of them. The second one, hole 7, is a little longer. Usually that plays 170-ish. But the first one usually plays right around 150 to 160. So I wouldn't use it there. I'm going to probably hit an iron. And if it's that windy where I've got to step up and hit a 200-yard club, this thing goes straight in the air. It's not going to go anywhere near, the 200 yards that it needs to go. So, like I said, I'd hit this on the tee on 3. I'd hit it on probably on the 5th hole, probably the 6th hole, and then maybe 8, and then maybe 9. And again, I can hit it, and it's fine. That's great, but I won't get any roll out of it, where with a hybrid, I get a little bit of roll because I hit it a little flatter. So off the tee, maybe hybrid is the way to go, since I'm hitting so many shots off the tee, and there'd be like I said, one shot, I hit this into the green. Unless maybe I topped a drive and had 215 in on a par 4 and something like that. Okay, I guess I would hit it, but I just don't know if it's going to be the club, just because I don't know if I want to hit it off the tee that much with it having, going straight in the air and dropping. I guess we'll see how windy it is. If it's not windy, I probably take it out and hit it just to see how it goes. When I go down and play Bella Vista, the other course I play a lot more, this will probably have a little more use in terms of hitting it into greens. There's some longer holes there and things like that I would hit this more. But right now, I don't think it's St. Clair Shores. I just don't think, especially on the front 9. On the back 9, even on the back nine, I just don't see where I'd use it a ton either. I just don't know if it would work really well there. But we'll see. Maybe I'll bring it, like I said, and just kind of do the experiment of how well do I hit it off the tee. But yeah, this is the 7 wood. It's 22 degrees, and we've got it turned down 1 and flat. So you go into the PXG setting, and if you can go towards the lower loft side, it's down 1 degree. So this is going to be 21 degrees and flat. And then this one here, I think when I reviewed it, I said I thought this was the Diamante D+. It's actually the S70 Limited. But they painted it black. I forgot they did the black version of the S. But it's actually an S plus 70, so the mid-launch version in 70. And like I said, it was just black and silver, and I just kind of looked at it quick, and I thought it was the D plus with the new graphics. So it's the S plus. So like I said, it definitely goes straight in the air. So something that's very interesting. But I may put the 7 wood in just to see how it goes and see how well I hit it. Because like I said, I took it out at Scottsdale National. I hit it, but again, same thing. I only hit it a handful of times where I feel like I would have hit hybrid maybe more. And if I decide to go hybrid, it's kind of a tough choice again between going the Callaway UW that I played a lot of last year, or the Cobra King Tech, which I think right now, if I had to choose, I think I'd go King Tech. I kind of got away from this hybrid a little bit because I got the UW last year. But I think this thing here with the Ventus, which was basically a Ventus HB8 in here, the Ventus Blue HB8, the 80 gram one, and I'm actually using the all-fit adapter on this one too, which is kind of cool. But I'm setting it at 19 degrees, but it sets at 19 degrees. I know this one comes out a little flatter. I know I'll get a little roll out of it, and it may not have the distance control going into, say, a par 5, but I don't really need that right now, or I don't really need it at this course. So like I said, going to be a kind of a game time decision there. Maybe I'll decide on the wind. If it's super windy, I'm going to definitely go Cobra King Tech 19 degree. If it's not windy, I'll probably go the PXG 7 wood. So this is one of the spots where I've got to decide what I'm going to do. And again, I know I'm totally overthinking this for a crappy 9 handicap, but this is just the way I roll. So it's it's one of those, just the way I roll when it comes to clubs. So this one here will be interesting to see what I do. Right now, like I said, I'm kind of leaning, the more I talk about it, to the 7 wood, unless it's crazy windy. But the King Tech I really like. I love the King Tech because, one, it has the adjustable loft on it, so you can adjust the loft to kind of dial in a gap. But the other part of it too is it's got the 3 movable weights on the sole, and you move all the heavy weights out of the toe, and it really is pretty darn anti-left. So you put a fairly stout shaft in there, like this Ventus Blue HB, and you put the weights out on the toe, it's tough to hit it left, and for me that's always a plus if I don't have to worry about hitting it left, because that's always a problem for me. And if I can worry about that problem less, that would be great. So it's going to be a choice there. And like I said, the biggest difference, the hybrid just flies flatter. I get a little more roll out of it. It may be a little better tee club when it comes to total length off the tee. The hybrid may go a little farther than that 7 wood. So we'll see how that goes. And then we get into irons, and this one was pretty much just a question between two sets of irons. So it was basically between the PXG Gen 5s, the set that I just got, the P4 iron T5 through wedge, or the TaylorMade P770. So I think I'm going to go P770. I've been hitting these a lot on the range, and I've got a new shaft that I want to get a little more time with, and now I can get some course time with it, which is this new KBS Tour Light. And this is actually the 105 grams or something like that, the 105. They actually sent me the wrong label, so they say 95 on here, but I think they're 105s, which isn't a big deal. I mean, they're labels. I wasn't even going to put them on, but then I decided I should. But so I got the brand new KBS lights in here. So I've got 4 through wedge, and I brought, typically the 4 iron I would put in the Mizuno Fly High or that new Tour Edge tie utility. But I think I want to hit the 4 iron to see how it goes. And I will hit this off the tee a couple times on a handful of holes. Depending on wind, it'll be anywhere between like 2 and 4 holes, depending on the wind. But the P770s have been have been a good iron for me. I mean, they kind of fit what I need. Like, I'm a guy who I love the look of players' irons. I don't want anything that's, crazy big. I want something that's got a fairly thin top line, all that jazz. But I need the help, and I can use a little distance. And I don't hit my irons super far, so for me, like a 7-iron is a 160 club. And if I really nuke it, maybe I can get it to 165, but really it's a 160 club. I don't hit it super far, and I don't hit it super high and long. So the P770 kind of fits where it's that cheater, looks kind of like a player's club. You can hit it, but it gives you the forgiveness. It gives you that ball speed that guys like I kind of need and want. The one downside to it, I'll give it a knock. It isn't the softest feeling, multi-piece forged iron out there. It's got a little click to it. It's got a little sound to it, especially when you really miss the center. But it'll be interesting to see. And like I said, this shaft here, heard some good things about it, honestly, from the guys at KBS. And they sent me a set to pop in here. So built them up and built them all up and ready to go. But I'm pretty interested to see, because recently I had these heads with Modus 125s. The Nippon Modus 125, and I really like the 125. That shaft, a little stiffer handle compared to say the 120, and it launches a little higher. Love it, but for whatever reason, like I've been hitting lighter weight shafts, like overall static weight, or overall clubs with lighter static weight. I've been hitting them better. So I don't know if it's just a feel thing or what, or I'm getting weak because I'm now 41 and I don't work out. But whatever it is, like the lighter stuff, especially in the irons, kind of feels a little better. Like the PXGs that I went and did down at Scottsdale, those are Elevate 95s. So, I mean, just the lighter stuff, I'm swinging a little bit better. And I just wonder if it's, I'm losing some muscle mass in my old age. And the lighter stuff, I just feel like I can control a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see. These are, like I said, I think the 105s. And then running these with these heads. And like I said, usually 4-iron I'll swap out. And then the other thing, too, is I'm going to keep the standard pitching wedge in, which I know I didn't do last year. I played basically the MG3. Like if I played these irons, I didn't play the pitching wedge. I played the MG3 46 degree, which I bent to 45. And I played that instead of the standard pitching wedge. But I think this time I'm going to play the standard pitching wedge, see if that'll help with just consistency and distance gapping and things like that, and see if I hit it a little better. But I'm going to hit that instead of the MG3. So I was debating on that, but I'm going to go MG3. And like I said, 4-iron, I'm going to go the P70 just to hit it, so I can kind of see ball flight. And, as I review the iron shafts for a future show, get a better idea how the long irons fly. But I think usually I would toss in, probably either the tour edge tie utility or that Mizuno Fly High 4-iron. So one of those two would probably go in the bag here, but for this week I'm going to go full P770 4 through pitching wedge. I don't know why I'm even sticking it up here. You can't see it. So I'm just going to set it down to the side of the desk. And then we get into wedges. And this is one I was debating, do I throw the SM8s back in? I don't have a matching set of SM9s, so they, for media samples, they set in like a 52, a 54, and a 60. And the 54 is a D grind, a jet black D grind. But I don't know if I want to. I mean, I'm going to mix and match my wedges a little bit here, but I don't know if I want to go like jet black 54 and then a chrome this. Like it's just kind of getting to be a lot. So I think I'm going to go with this setup. And then the gap wedge, I'm going to go to kind of match the iron set. I'm going to go mill grind 3. So I'm going to go TaylorMade mill grind 3. This is a 50. It's a 52 high bounce that I've bent to 50, and it didn't actually add that much offset. Like I kind of like the look of it, and I was debating like, do I throw the 50 from my SM8s in instead? And honestly, setting them down, I like the look of this one a little bit better. So I'm going to give this one a try here. It's still got 10 degrees of bounce, even with bending it strong, which worked out really well. And then I've got a little stamping in there that says, like, for TG2 use only. But the 52, or the 50, I've been kind of using a little, like the pitching wedge, using a little bit more around the green to chip and pitch shots. Anything that, I don't have to hit high, just kind of hit something low, a little bit of spin. I've been using this or the MG3 pitching wedge. But this one here, like I said, I'm probably going to rock this for my 50. Just got a good look to it. When you set it down, I think with the MG3, TaylorMade nailed the shape. I thought the MG2s always had like kind of a little too much of a sharp, boxy toe for my eye. But this one here is definitely a little more soft, a little more rounded, a Love the look. And then this one here has the Modus 125 wedge shaft in it, which I just switched it over at the end of last year because I basically figured I was going to go MG3s full in the line, or full wedges MG3s, pitch, gap, sand. My lobs, I kind of got into the lobs. I like playing like the full face groove stuff. So, but I was going to hit these, and then we'll see. So I reshafted them up. So it's got the 125 wedge, which for me is fine because it doesn't match the irons, but that's fine. I don't hit full. I'll hit full shots with this, but for the most part, like at 100 yards, I'm not going to swing and try to hit my 54. I'm going to hit like a 3/4 or 80%, 50 degree. So it's a club that I don't hit a ton of full shots with, but I do hit some here and there. But I'm going to basically rock this bad boy for the round. But the MG3s have a really good feel to them. They're soft. Especially when you hit them center. Off center, they got a little click to them, but they spin well, and the raw faces are kind of cool. I thought they'd be a little distracting having the raw face with like the chrome toe and heel, but it's really not. Once you set it on there, it's pretty good. And then their sole designs tend to be pretty versatile. I mean, those milled soles, like I said, the high bounce version, 12 degrees, but at my 50 last year, I played a 12 degree F grind in my Vokey. So having the high bounce in the gap, I don't mind it. And again, I say it all the time. It's soft here in Michigan, so I need something that's going to get through the turf fairly well. And I'm going mill grind 3 in the 50. And then the 54 and 58 are going to be the PXG Sugar Daddy 2s with the Bob Parsons grind. So these ones here, I just got down in Scottsdale. These ones here, I wouldn't say I did a full-blown fitting, but I was working with one of the guys down there, and we were hitting shots all over this massive short game area. And this sole is pretty nice. It's got 13 degrees of bounce in the 54 and the 58. The 58 is the only one here I'm showing on like YouTube if you're watching. And then the Bob Parsons grind is the higher bounce version of the two. It's got a little less trailing edge relief, especially heel and toe, than the... What is the other one? I think the other one is called the C grind, maybe. But anyway, then the other grind, it's got definitely a little less trailing edge relief. But the sole's narrow, but it's still got a lot of bounce, and you could still kind of thud this thing into the ground. It would still pop itself back out, and the turf interaction was really good with it. I do like, that it's got the full face grooves. But the cool thing is with it, it's got the full face grooves. The 58 has a little more higher toe look to it. The 54 looks like a standard wedge, and I actually have the 50. I was going to toss in there as well. The 50 is still full face grooves, but it's the same shape as like a regular wedge. So it doesn't, you almost forget that it's got full face grooves when you look down on it. But I think these would be really good. I mean, it's going to be soft out there. We had a snowstorm on Monday, and now it's going to be 60 degrees, today. So the course is still going to be damp. It's still going to be soft. So I want something with a good amount of bounce. And again, I thought about just grabbing my D grind from last year, my SM8, because I don't put enough rounds on stuff to really wear it out. The grooves, you can still see the micro grooves in between the actual grooves. So it's not like they're worn out or not going to spin. But I was going to bring those. And then I was like, you know what? Let's bring something else. I hit these pretty well down in Scottsdale. Let's see how they perform out in the softer conditions here in Michigan. So I'm going to go 54, 58 in these. And like I said, I kind of like, especially in the lob wedge, having those grooves all the way out the toe. Because, when you open a club up and hit a little higher lofted shot, I always tend to hit it a little further out on the toe, a little further out and higher on the toe. And having those grooves there, the ball comes out a little more spin. A lot of these, they have a little more mass up there at the toe. Comes out a little more true, and you just get a little better distance control out of those shots with these wedges compared to regular ones. So I'm going to go out and like I said, I'm going to play both. I'm going to do the sand and the lob and these, and then we'll see. We'll see how the 50 goes. The 50, I thought it was going to take a lot of time to get used to, and it hasn't. But like I said, I just kind of like the look of the MG3. It matches up with the P770s. So, but when I put the PXGs in the bag to go play those out of the course, I'll probably go full set of PXG wedges as well. So 54, 58, and that's also different. Usually I play 50, 56, 50, 56, 60. And I went 58 just to see if having a little less loft can help with the consistency, especially out of the rough. With that 60 degree, any shot over, say 40 or 50 yards, I just never really had a ton of confidence. I didn't know where I was going to hit on the face. I tend to chunk it, or if it's out of the rough, I would kind of get under it too much, hit it a little higher off the face. So I went 58 to see if I can add a little consistency. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. I used to play like a 58 back in the day. It's been a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. So rocking those out there. And then we come to the other spot where I kind of don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to bring 2 clubs to the course and see how we go. Because that would be putters. So the putter that I'm going to go into it as, like, let's call it the gamer, will be the, Bettinardi BB8W. That's going to be kind of the guy right now. It's the one I've had. This is the 2022 one. I had the 2021, really liked it, and now I'm going to go. This is the 2022, which they've done, I think, a great job with improving it, the sound, the feel. It's got a new face milling, a little deeper, and then it's a little shorter heel to toe. It's a little more stubby in a sense. But this one here, I'm going to go with this. I've putted, I've got my little mat down here that I've been putting between this and my. Well, there's been 3 putters I'm kind of going through, but this one and another is what I've been kind of battling it out with. And this is the one that's got the Fujikura MC putter shaft in the firm. So there's an extra stiff, which is crazy stiff, a smooth, which is very soft, and then the firm. And the firm kind of plays like a steel shaft. But I love the softer feel it kind of gives the putter head, and I think it's ultra consistent. But I'm going to go with the Bettinardi, and it's much like last year's. It just feels comfortable in the hand. It feels comfortable through the stroke. And we'll see. I'll get out there on the practice green. I'll hit this one and give it a try. But like I said, last year's, the 2021 had a little ting to it when you hit it. I mean, anywhere on the face really. But even dead center had a little ting to it. And the feel was a little firm, a little crisp. But I putted well with it, so I used it. I kind of got over it and said, that's fine. I'm making putts, so I don't care. The 2022 came out. First putt I hit with it, I yanked the shaft out of the 2021, stuck it in here, and we're rolling. So, like I said, the 2022 definitely has a little softer, more muted sound to it, and still responsive, but it's just softer, easier feeling, and like I said, the look of it, it is a little shorter heel to toe to give it, I think, a little more proportional look. But that's me, and that's personal. But gonna go with this. So this will be out on the putting green with me. And then the other one, which I've been kind of surprised that I've liked a lot down here, but I haven't got it on the course, is the Lab Mez 1, the MEZ, the Mez.1. So this is the one that Adam Scott's using, Charles Schwartzel, a couple other guys on tour have them. And then this one here, I've got a Stability Tour Polar shaft in. It's the white version that's got like almost a rubberish feel on it. But this thing here is that one that is lie angle balance, so when you set it in your hands, the face basically points towards the target, towards the hole. So it's got a totally different feel to it. But I found down here putting with it, it actually takes a little bit of getting used to because there's no like face rotation, that it just goes back and forth. And I found that like really light grip pressure and putting with this, it's pretty darn consistent. So I would say the only worry I may have with it would be really long lag putts because I just haven't putted with it yet. But I'm pretty interested to see how this thing goes. The feel is really soft. It's got some grooves milled in the face. The roll seems to be pretty good down here on my putting mat. But I've been putting a lot with this thing down here, and so far pretty darn impressed with it. So I'm going to basically take this with me, have both on the putting green, whichever one I make a few more putts with, going in the bag. But this one here has been pretty interesting, and it's got that press 2 1.5 grip, which kind of puts a little forward press into the hands already. It's just a totally interesting design, so I totally get why a lot of people have been raving about the Lab putters. So bring them both. We'll see how it goes, and like I said, whichever one I make a few putts with, that's the one going in the bag. So that's what I'm going with. I got the Moto Caddy. I've got the Moto Caddy remote M7 or the M7 remote. Batteries charging underneath this desk, so that'll be ready to go as well. And then I've got a new bag to pop on the trolley and give it a whirl. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll talk about that bag in a future show as well. It's kind of built for push carts, so it'll be interesting to see how it connects up and works with that. But that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with for the first night of league. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to not shoot like 48. I'm hoping to keep things more closer to 40, but we'll see. I don't know what the course conditions are going to be like. I don't know what the weather's going to be. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So wish me luck today. I'll definitely either post on Instagram or something my results. And again, if you follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod, I know I didn't do my Q&A today, so I apologize for that. I will maybe I'll try to do it today, Thursday. I'll try to do it in the day before I go and play. But anyway, everybody have a good week. Have a great weekend. If you're in Metro Detroit, it's supposed to be super nice, super warm. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, get out and play some golf. So everybody have a good week. We'll talk next week.